Okay, so hey guys, welcome to my first ever video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about Maborosi. So the way I found out about this movie is because I watched um, a YouTube video called 50 of the best movies ever, and the person put this as his number one. So yeah, I'm going to talk about this movie. This movie is called Maborosi. So trigger warning before we start, because this movie contains topic about you know I'm going to start by reading the synopsis that is provided by Google. So it says this: Yumiko is left alone with her infant son after her husband Ikuo's mysterious suicide. Years later, she remarries Tamio, a widower, and moves to a new village where she starts pondering over Ikuo's death. And that is it. That's it basically. Like, that's the whole movie. But I think the same with other slice of life movies, that it's not, even though you already know the story, it's not about that, but it's about how the filmmaker tells you the story. That's why even though you already know what's going to happen, you will still feel some feelings in this movie. And the movie starts by showing you Yumiko's dream, where she chased her grandmother from leaving her house. And Yumiko tried to stop her. Her grandmother said, "I want to die at home." And after failing to convince her grandmother to come back home, Yumiko went back to her house. And at the front of her house, she turned her head and made eye contact with a boy standing next to his bicycle. And remember, bicycle will be an important items in the story. You will understand it as the movie goes on. And then turns out it was all a dream. And Yumiko woke up and told her husband that if only I could have kept her from going. And it really sets the tone about how the movie is going to go. It is basically about Yumiko's way of dealing with with her trauma, with her grief, and with death. I'm going to divide this movie into two parts, right? I'm gonna call it the first part and the second part. Let's go to the first part. The first part of this movie is located in Tokyo, a city with crazy good rail network. I mean, just look at this train of Tokyo. Everywhere you go in Tokyo, there's probably a railway next to you or near you. And train is a big contributor in this first part. I would say the dialogue is very cozy. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like you are in the same room as them. It feels like you are watching two people, like a husband and a wife talking to each other. It feels like when it's raining outside and your room is cold enough and you are wearing your favorite sweater and you are watching a good movie accompanied with a glass of hot chocolate, just like this one. The dialogue feels just like that. In my opinion, the dialogue feels very cute in a way. This movie made me smile and kick my feet up in the air. And other than the dialogue, what I like as well about this part is the details. So starting with the shot of her husband riding his bike, like I said before, bike is a really important items in the story. Starting with the shot of her husband riding his bike next to a railway, and a train went past him. Yumiko and her husband were chilling in this part. They're just a regular couple living their life, right? They're just having their time together, just like any other couples, I guess. And one day, her husband came home and picked up his umbrella for some reason. And then her husband Ikuo met Yumiko, and Yumiko was giggling. So, and after that, what you can see is just a still shot of her husband walking through a tunnel. As he went further and further, you get the sense of uncomfort, as if something would happen. That is a great filmmaking with no dialogues. The way you can create that feeling through your camera, it is very fantastic. And later that day, the police came to Yumiko's house and told Yumiko that they found a guy dead after he had been hit by a train. And turns out that person is her husband, Ikuo. And after that, there is a scene where Yumiko is riding her bike and a train went past her. And it kind of recalls to the previous scene where her husband, committed suicide. And after the train went past Yumiko went from riding her bike to walking by her bike. That is a great little detail, in my opinion. Like, it is very simple, but it is beautiful. And there are other details as well, but I think you guys can just watch the movies, because I don't want to spoil the movie. And next is the second part. The second part started with Yumiko and her son moving to a new city to meet her new husband. Yes, her new husband, because this is an arranged marriage. The journey to get there, I tell you, it is very beautiful. Like, just look at these frames. Just look at this. Every frame is like a painting. You could just screenshot this and frame it, and it is just as beautiful as any other photography. It is very beautiful. The cinematography of this movie is crazy good. And I like the fact that this part does not have any dialogue, and it really allows you to really grasp the feelings of being in her position. In this part, I don't really want to tell you guys the whole story, because I want you to watch the movie yourself. And also in this part, you get to really experience the new environment that Yumiko is in, from the relationship between Yumiko and her new husband, the new husband's family, and their kids getting along with each other. Yumiko seems to fit in with her new surrounding and her new life until she came back to Tokyo. She visited the bar that she and her husband used to go to. She visited her late husband's factory where he used to work, and the nostalgia flooded her memories. There is a scene in this part where you can really feel the fear that Yumiko has, which is the fear of losing someone. The scene where her now mother-in-law went out from the house and has not come back yet, Yumiko was questioning where she is. And just like the movie, the scene was very quiet until you hear a sound of what resemblance the sound of a train. And you can see the worry in Yumiko's face, because trains and death has a relationship in Yumiko's life. It turns out that her mother-in-law was just fine. She came back home safely, but you can see how much it bothered Yumiko. And the penultimate scene of this movie is a beautiful long shot of Yumiko trying to observe a death ritual. I think it's called death ritual, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, this is a scene about Yumiko discovering people letting go of someone who isn't there anymore. I would say this is a scene where Yumiko learns that this is life. People also went through Yumiko is going through right now. And turns out her new husband was there, and he came to Yumiko at the end, and he was there for her. And Yumiko started to ask him questions why her husband did it. So this the part where I'm just going to talk about this movie, like just what I feel about this movie. I think this movie is about Yumiko's journey in letting go of the past. The movie is told in a very beautiful way that makes you not just empathize with Yumiko, but also feel like you know Yumiko personally. This movie, in my opinion, feels very empty in a good way. I like emptiness in a good way. Like in movies and musics, it is okay to not do anything. In music, for example, silence is a note. Not playing a note is playing a note. Uh, and yes, I know maybe the ending is not the way you want it to be, the way like Yumiko Yumiko is successful at overcoming her grief, but that's not about it. This is life. Uh, You're not going to always get what you want, right? And that is completely fine. Grief is a big part of life, and it is completely fine. Just stop trying to be perfect. And I don't know how much I can say about this, but because thankfully I've never experienced this, losing someone very close to me. I've never experienced that. But sometimes I imagine losing someone I am in love with. I think it is going to be so hard to move on with them, because your relationship basically ended with dreams and hopes still alive. For example, Yumiko and Ikuo, they are still young. They basically just started a family. They have kids who's I don't know, I think still elementary school, or not even elementary school. Like both of them still have dreams together. Like maybe this is just my assumption because it is not mentioned in the movie, but maybe they are still dreaming about buying her dream house, their dream house, or achieving something together. But it just ended in a way that is not controllable by both parts. And I don't know, let me know in the comment if you have experienced this or if you have opinion about this. But I believe even though physically the relationship has ended, but has it ended emotionally because of the way it ends? I don't know. What do you guys think?